Alright, so guys, here we are in DaVinci Resolve 17. We're gonna go to this button here, Project Manager, and we're gonna create a new project. So I'm gonna name it like cinematic simple intro. Yes, something like that. You can give it any name that you really want, but I want that, so I'm gonna go to create, and guys, there I have it. I'm gonna close some windows over here, some panels, because I don't need them. Now guys, hopefully you are familiar with this. Now if it happened to open on another page, that means that was your last page, so just jump back to the edit page. So I'm gonna go and import in some footage. Let me create a new bin. You can create a bin, or you can ignore this, but just create a bin for fun, I'm just gonna double click. Oh, I can give it any name. Let's say I don't know, SFX, sound effects, just like that. Well, I'm gonna put everything within the sound effects folder, so you can just play around. It depends, could be you have a different bin, you want a different bin for your sound effect, and then a different bin for your your other footage, but we're just gonna need the audio, and then everything is gonna be generated in DaVinci Resolve 17. Alright, so let me go on and create and look for my audio here. Now guys, I'll put this audio in the description below, the link, so feel free to check that out. Go to my music, SFX, and I want this guy. Alright, so here's the guy. Just drag and drop him to the timeline. Okay, try to resize, I can even close the media pool. Just give it a play. You can press home, the home key on your keyboard, and then you go to the beginning. And then if you want to go to the end, just press the end key on your keyboard. Pretty simple, right? So I'm gonna press the home key, and then I am at the beginning. So I'm gonna press the spacebar to play. So yeah, that's what I have now. Okay, so our audio is set. Now let's go on and put in some titles here. I'm gonna go to titles, just go to effects library, go to titles, and I am going to put in some basic title here called custom title text plus, and I'm just going to put in here, just as simple as that. Now it's better you put you first put in text, because the video is gonna need time to render this stuff, and if you're on a weak computer, it's gonna take a lot of time for it to render out everything to work out for you. So I really prefer first putting in the basic title, and then I can do the rest later. I'm gonna pull this a little bit high because I have some background that I want to put here, and also some other layers, text layers up over here. I don't want to have my timeline really congested, but I just want to have it fine and fitting within my need. Now you can always press Shift Z to always fit everything within your timeline, fit within the space that you have on your timeline, just in case you have messed around with things. Could be you have made them very small. Just press Shift Z, and then they'll come back to the size that fits within your timeline. Alright, so I'm going to show you some very useful shortcuts. Now when you press down the Shift key, press down the shift key, and then you scroll, you roll you roll the middle mouse button. I don't know, could be your mouse has it. Just press down shift and then you roll. You can increase the size of anything that you are pointing on. Could be I am pointing on this audio, I can increase its size. I am pointing on the text, I can increase its size. And when you leave, when you release, you can still roll your middle mouse button to see the details. Let me see, I want to see the details over here. In this audio, I can just preview it like that. That's hopeful. Alright, so then I press shift again and scroll down, roll down, if that's the correct word. Roll down and make sure I bring back things back to normal, just like that. You can also press down the Alt key or the Option key if you're on the Mac and increase the size, just in case you want to see some details. You can go crazy and increase the size to, could be this size, and then go to shift and then go into the details, so you can see that I can see the details over here. Now let me say you have messed around with the timeline and you want to come back. It's fine, just press shift Z and then boom, you're back. You press shift and try to reduce things here. You can also play around with these guys here. I find them useful, but I know the shortcuts, so most times I just play around with the shortcuts. That's out of the way. Let's see how we can create some great animations here. Now, this is what we got so far. I want to go to my text. Now when you realize my audio, our audio here, it's always better to have something in, like you picture out something before you even do it. Like you choose the audio that you already know what's going to happen with it. Now when I play along this audio, I believe there's something something coming in with a lot of energy. So I want to make my text come like it's coming from somewhere behind me and falling into the screen with a lot of energy. So how can I do that? I'm just gonna play around with keyframes. Now if you know anything about editing, then you are familiar with keyframes, but could be you don't. So let's jump into the inspector and see how we can add some keyframes in here. I am going to, when I play back this, I feel around, I feel around here. And when I compare my waveform and you see the waveform here, you can see the I feel somewhere around here. I feel the audio sitting, so around there I'm going to add a keyframe. I'm going to select my text plus layer and go to the inspector. You can see it's the right text layer selected here, text plus, and I am going to change, of course, my wording here and make it uppercase. Let me say Abedawen. I love my name, so I'm just gonna put it. I don't know, could be your channel name. Just go on and put it in there. I'm pretty satisfied with that. I'll leave the color to white. I'll leave the font style to Open Sans, but you can play around with anything that you want. Could be, let's go a little bit crazy with Myriad Pro. I don't know. You can choose whichever font style you like here, but I'm just gonna leave it like Open Sans. And the style, I'll leave it to semi-bold. I think semi-bold is extra bold. Let's use extra bold. Let's see. Well, most people use regular, but let me just go crazy and use this. Alright, so having said everything in there, now at this frame, I want it to be far out, in. I want it to be in. And notice how I can press in my viewer. This is your viewer, where things that you're playing back can show. Just a viewer over there. So I can go on, and when you roll, like you roll your middle mouse button, you can increase the size or decrease it. So that's very helpful. Well, you don't see the actual what? The actual size of the viewer, but I wish I had something different here you could see, but it's fine, you know, as if the viewer is taking all the screen, but it's just around this place here. So pretty helpful. You should be careful not to have things way too big and things not way too small. So you just have to play around with the best dimensions over here. Just gonna leave it like that. I am just gonna leave it like that. Okay, so at this frame I want it to be there. Okay, so I'm gonna go to settings and add a keyframe, and I'm also gonna add, well, you can add independent keyframes, but I can just go to this main transform word here, and then just add a collective keyframe to everything in here. And I can also go to opacity, where I want opacity to have the keyframe and the transform. Alright, so having done that, where here I've added my keyframes, and let me just adjust the size a little bit, the zoom. I'm gonna bring it a little bit, I think around 1.04. It's fine with me. Alright, so I can close and can minimize and open them, just to keep my space really tight, really clean. Okay, so having said that, let's go to the beginning. Remember the shortcut? You can just press home, the home key on your keyboard, and there you have it. You are at the starting point. I'm gonna go to transform and add keyframes in here, and also the opacity. And I want this guy really too far away, zoomed out, like really out, with only I think D show really out. And I want the opacity to be way down, about 0. I can just type in here 0. Okay, so from the beginning he is at 0, he comes in and appears at this frame here. Okay, having said that, let's see another frame that needs some animation. Alright, so I'm gonna go to, when I look at my audio, I feel as if it's kind of resting over here. So I am going to change his opacity here, and a little bit play around with opacity and zoom. Guys, that's what we're gonna be playing around with. So opacity and zoom. I'm gonna go to the inspector and go to title. Settings. I am going to add a keyframe here for the opacity, and I'll bring him a little bit down. I'll just put in 40, which is nice. Okay, and the zoom is gonna come to 1. Let me just take him back to 1. Yeah, back to 1. Just a little touch. All right, so let me say 1.9. So I mean 0.9. Yeah, 0.9. All right, so let's close this. We have set some keyframes in there. And then I also want to go to about 2 seconds and 5 microseconds, like around here. I don't know. We've set a keyframe here, so I think let me go to around 3. I don't want many keyframes. They kind of slow down my playback, so I'm just gonna go to we go to 3 seconds and yeah, around there, and 11 microseconds. And I'm gonna go to the inspector. I want this guy back. I want this guy, let me set keyframes in here, and I want this guy back to normal, so it was 1.04. okay, and I want the opacity to come back to 100%. okay, right, so we have set some keyframes in there, and I also want him to be at around here, around here. I want to add a keyframe in here at around 4. Just add around 4 and the beginning of this, this bump here within the audio form. And I want to go to the inspector, audio wave form. Let me go to the inspector and get settings, and I want to add keyframes in here. I want him to go back to 0.9 and the opacity to 40 back. Okay, right, and then as we go to the last frame around here, about 6 seconds. I want him to be good settings, and I want to add another keyframe in here. Okay, and the opacity, and I want him back to 100. And let's say I also want the zoom back to, just gonna double click this, back to 1.04. okay, just like that. And as the thing starts to come up around here, I want him to be way zoomed out. Way zoomed in, like way zoomed in. I want him to be way zoomed out. I want him to be way zoomed in. Just like he came, I also want him to go back. Okay, so what I am gonna play around with, I want the opacity to be back to 40. I don't know, 40, and I want him zoomed way out, like real way out, around there. Okay, and everything is set. Now I want to go to the last frame. Remember the shortcut, just press end on your keyboard, and I want to go to settings, and I want him I want the opacity to come back to 0, so just that. And I want him also to be way zoomed far. Just gonna add a keyframe only on the zoom, and I want him going zoomed out, just like that, just to kind of just to kind of increase, like create some kind of great animation and a simplified one. So that's what we have so far. It comes in and then it's around, like it jogs around, and then finally he goes out. Alright, so we are successful with that. Now press the end key to go to the last frame. Now I want to go back to the beginning and just press home, and I want to throw in some other text. Let's just create this a fade on. Okay, I'm gonna close the effects library, and I'm gonna drag this guy. Make sure snapping is turned on, this button here. It can always help you align your layers in a very simple and organized way without overlapping them. And I'm gonna use my key, the Alt or the Option if you're on the Mac, and I'm just gonna play around to see that everything is lined up really nice here. Okay. So my audio is getting out. Just want him back there. You can press Shift Z and everything is back to normal. Alright, so this is what we have. I'm gonna put my playhead here. Now you can duplicate this by just pressing the Alt key, but I don't want to duplicate him right now before I put in anything. So let me just give it a play so you can see. Now the problem is this guy is in the same position, so it's not changing. Let me just show you something. You see, it's kind of like as if the other one is coming into his appearance, which I don't really want. What I want is to have this guy a little bit down. So I'm going to go to settings and add keyframes. No, I'm not going to add keyframes. I just want him to be in the same position. So I am going to play around with the position X. Let me play here where I can see him. Position X and Y. Just gonna bring him a little bit down, down, and bring the zoom really down. Now you can increase the size of your viewer just by pressing, by dragging. Make sure the handles are there, and then you can drag around. Well, I want this guy in the middle, so I am going to go X, and I'll go way there, around there, just a little touch. Let me take him a little bit even higher up. Okay, just that. Let me go back to text and change this. I'm gonna say video. I'm pretty happy with Open Sans, the font and the color. Let's leave it white. Okay, and yeah, so that's how it comes. And I want to duplicate this. Let me close my inspector and come here and press home to go back to the starting of the timeline. I'm gonna press the Alt key or the Option key if you are on the Mac, and just drag this guy up. So you see we have gotten a duplicate. I can go to my playhead, put my playhead where I can see the guy in the viewer. Let me go to the inspector and turn this word to design. Okay, and I'll leave everything as default, and I'll go to settings. I'm gonna add, I'm just gonna change his size. I'm not gonna add any frame. I want the same size, but I want him more to the left. Okay, around there. I'm gonna come back to the video layer and make him a little bit. Oh, sorry for that. I'm gonna Ctrl Z to, or you can just double click the zoom. Wait, we are running into a situation here, so let me just copy the zoom setting in here. Just copy this and paste in here. I don't want things changing just weird ways, you know. I don't want things really happening in weird ways. Okay, so we have everything set in here. I can go on and duplicate him even more. Go on, press the Alt key or the Option key if you are on the Mac, and we have gotten another copy. I can go here and turn the word to success tips. Success tips. And I am going to go to settings, and I'm going to leave the size just as it is, and drag the position X to far away right. Just want to make sure that he is far away right. Okay. About there could be. Okay, let me go down to my first layer and this guy a little bit more to the left. By the way, you can always go on and you can just go on and make sure that everything is ready here. You can always look at your layers and know that this is a fade on and this is a text bar, so just very easy, very useful. And I just want to go to the first layer and make sure I take him even more to the, let me take him more to the right a little bit, just a little touch, more to the right. I'm experiencing some slow back here, but I think that's fine. Video, yeah, it's visible. Let me also extend the design word a little bit far to the left, about there. Oh, that's too far. That's still too far. Let me just about that a little bit. Just a little touch. Design, video, and success tips. Okay, that's not bad for me. Yes, just a little touch. Okay, so that's fine. I close the inspector, and I am going to make sure that things come differently. So I am going to make sure this guy comes around this frame. I'm just gonna reduce the size of my viewer so I can concentrate on my layers. I just want him to come as at the beginning of this waveform. Let me just put the playhead here. Around here, okay. And then I want another guy to come on this other one. Just go a few frames back. I want him to be there. Alright, and then another one, I want him to be a little bit some frames back there. Alright, so pretty happy with that. Just give it a play. Let me just increase the size of my viewer here. I'm expecting some lag, but it's fine. You'll see everything coming out as we render it. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with that. And I'm gonna go on and put in some generator just to give a background. I'm gonna go to effects library and generators. Now guys, you can play around with these effects, you know, just to get some idea. And I am going to go to this one here, texture background. Now there are many, but I just like this. So for this course, for this video, let's close the effects library, and I'm gonna drag him to the end just to make sure that he's at the end. Okay, everything is running on well. And then I am going to go to the inspector. Now notice how things really are different, because we are working on a fusion kind of graphics, so it's going to be a little bit heavy, and the changes, I mean the settings are going to be a little bit different. Now you can play around with everything in here and keyframe them. I want to go to the middle of my timeline, which is, when you notice by the end I'm around in 8 seconds, and 8 seconds and 2 microseconds. There's 2 microseconds, not really big. Just gonna go to the middle at around 4 seconds. Come on, I'm gonna turn off the snapping. That is kind of noise when you're looking for the correct frame. So I am here. I'm gonna bring it back on. The snapping very helpful sometimes. And I want to go to the inspector and then just play around with everything in here. I'm gonna play around with the detail. I am going to make the detail a little bit down. Let me go around with 9 point something, 9, around 8. Okay, and contrast, I'm gonna go to 0.2, 0.5, just there, just a little touch. Go to 0.41, yes, 41, just that. And I'm gonna also adjust the brightness to a little bit like 0.13, I don't know, 16. Let's play around with everything in here, and the scale, it's gonna crank it up just to just to go crazy with this. I'm gonna go to 13, and the angle, you can just play around with everything in here. Just make it around 190, just there. And you can also play around with the save, let me just bring it a little bit down. 0.7 negative. Let me say negative 0.04. Negative 0. I don't know. Let me say 0.4. I don't know. 0.42 could be. Just go on with that. Now make sure that everything is keyframed, otherwise you just be wasting your time. So I didn't go to the center, center X, center Y. Just played around with this, so I'm gonna add keyframes on this. Okay. Alright, so after setting up that, I'm gonna go back to the beginning, and I want to bring back, I'm gonna go to the generator, and I want to bring back everything to normal. Just gonna double click the contrast, double click the brightness, double click the scale, double click the angle, double click the shift, just to bring it back to the default. Okay, and I want to go far away to the end by pressing the N key. Remember the key, N key in your keyboard, and I can still add keyframes. I just wanna go back to the beginning and see whether my keyframes were set. Well, I didn't set the keyframes, so that's really bad. Make sure that you set your keyframes. Don't be like me. Sometimes you forget, sometimes you remember, so just make sure you don't forget. It's easy to forget. Okay, everything's set. Let me go down to the end by pressing the End key, and I'm also gonna set keyframes in here. Okay, and I am going to play around even more with them. Let me bring the scale just there, and I am going to bring the angle really down, like really down, and I'll bring the shift a little bit even down, more down, and I'll bring the details a little bit up, just to kind of play around with everything. Contrast a little bit there, and brightness just there. You know, we're close and everything, so it's gonna be around that. Alright, so my keyframes are set well. I'm not gonna give it a play. It's gonna come really. Let me just give that a play. But it's gonna be a little bit slow because, you know, DaVinci Resolve is still rendering things here. You can see this red line here. It shows that it's still rendering, and then the blue one is the rendered one. You can also go to playback on your main menu and go to render catchy and go to smart. I prefer going up with the smart one. And guys, I made a full video about how you can fix slow playbacks in DaVinci Resolve, just in case you have gotten some really like heavy stock, you know, heavy footage like in 4K, I don't know, 6K, 8K. Play around with the setting here and make sure that your playback is smooth and pretty nice. Please check that out. And I'm not gonna go into the details right now, but you can check that out and find out how you can do that. Right, so you give it a playback again. You know, these are very heavy graphics that are not gonna be, you know, that much easier to render out just in a simple state like that. Just give it a playback. Alright, what I want to change is I want to bring this text to come a little bit earlier to around this frame when it starts to let me press this first text and go to the inspector, and I want to go to settings, and I want to go to the second frame. Alright, that one, and I want to bring him there. Okay, and let me go to another frame. Remember you must select the red layer. Now go to another frame. Okay, and another one. Alright, so this is where I also want this guy to come in, and let me go to another one, and this is where I also want this guy to come in. Alright, you can close the inspector, and I think everything is now fine. Let me press the home key to go back to the beginning and see how it's gonna come out. It's playing really bad because DaVinci Resolve is trying to render things here. You can give it time, but I'm not gonna give it time. Just force it to replay. See how it's going. So I'm pretty satisfied with that. I don't know for you, but for me, I feel satisfied with that. So I'm gonna go to you can go to the color page and do some finalization here, but I'm not gonna go into the color page that much. I feel everything is really set. I'm gonna go to the render page, to the deliver page, and I'm going to deliver. So let me say simple intro. Yes, a simple. Oh, come on. Simple intro. Okay, now browse. Make sure that you set up everything in here. And check for where I'm storing my file. Okay, save. Okay, so everything is set in here. I can just add it to the render key, to the render key, and render it out. Just give it some little time, and it will be done. So that's it for today, guys. Thanks for watching. If this video was helpful to you, please give it a thumbs up, and let me know in the comments below any other question that you have for me, and I am ready to answer them. Thanks for watching. Of course, let's meet in the next video. Bye bye.